Okay, so I'm just popping in the studio quickly just to give a little update on this journal page that I had shared about earlier in an earlier or previous video in YouTube, my YouTube channel. So this is where I left off pretty much in that video. So at this point, usually what I like to do as a next step is I like to now make sure that I have everything, in alignment. So the face and the features are all in alignment. So what I mean by that is that I go back in with a pencil and I just kind of bring back in the eyes and the nose, and also making sure that everything's centered properly. So I'll take my paintbrush or the pencil and I'll put it right down through the center of the face. And at this point, this is when I'll make sure that, okay, so the center of the nostril, the dip that we all have in the center, is right in alignment and in the middle, okay? And in relation to that the dip that we have right on our upper lip is in alignment right underneath where the nose or the nostril dips. So there's the dip in the upper lip right there. And then we have, it's in relation to the nose here. So there's the dip in the nose, just bringing it up close. And there's the dip in our lip and making sure that that is all straight. Because sometimes when you're painting, what happens is that the features kind of shift. You don't realize it and they kind of start shifting a bit and things kind of get out of whack and out of alignment. So I like to kind of, like I said, stop at this point before I continue on further and just make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. So, and that also has to do with the face, the shape of the face, the size of the face. So again, because as I'm adding layers and layers, and sometimes that the lines of where I have the end points of the face, the sides of the face, they kind of get moved over a bit. So what I did was I brought her face in a little bit so you could see where the actual paint was. And then I drew a pencil line here just to bring her in, and I'm bringing the structure and the outline back into her face. And then the eyes, I penciled them in and I brought them wider. So they're bigger, going wider on either side, because when you look at your face in the mirror, our eyes are right at the end. There isn't like this big gap of more face. It doesn't work that way. So like I said, I not only made the eyes a little bit wider, but I also brought the head size in a bit. And then going back to the nostril and the lip, making sure, go right to that center point, making sure the tip of the chin is also in alignment with that. So all that should be right in alignment. So right here and right there. So there's the tip of the chin, and that's where it should kind of jut out a little bit, depending on what kind of chin you want her to have, what kind of facial shape she's supposed to have, that you want her to have, whether it's, triangular or more oval, but there still should be, or even round, there should be some sort of definition of shape of a chin to define that. So I have that now here in alignment. And I also noticed too, as I was painting, which is why I like to stop at this point, is where the size of her chin. So her chin, because of all the paint layers I was doing, was getting longer than the original sketch I did. So I brought that in. So if you look closely here, I'm going to zoom in. There's the lighter color of paint. So here, the darker shading is where I had originally had her neckline. And it became that way as I was adding the layers. So now with the pencil, I've sketched it in and brought her face, her jawline, back up. So it shortened the space between the bottom of her lip and the edge of her chin. Because we don't need to have her having a super long chin and, looking like Jay Leno or something. Not that there's anything wrong with the way Jay Leno looks, but yeah, I didn't want her to have not the jawline I was aiming for. So, so that's what I've done so far. Excuse me. So just wanted to kind of pop in here, like I said, and just quickly share that next step that I've done. And then from here, which I'll continue to record another time because I'm not staying in the studio for very long right now. I'll take you along and videotape that too as I continue to start adding more and more of her features, her eyes. At this point too, I also look at, you know, how wide I want her mouth going across her face. So I'm going to be looking at that and maybe bringing it out here a bit. Bringing it out here. Just kind of going like that. So if I just have, she's got a little dip, little bow mouth. Okay, so it's just a rough sketch I'm doing with a simple black pencil. And then later on, I worry about the hair and all that sort of thing. But right now, during this time, for my process anyway, I just focus on her face. And once I start seeing her personality coming through, then I start worrying about, you know, what's her hair going to be like, and, you know, the color of her hair and all that sort of thing, and whatever other little things are going to be going on with her. So when I do come back and paint and add some more painting on this, I will be raising the shadowing that I've done here, the shading. I will be putting that more now to where this new jawline is, so that the shading is correct. And then obviously widening the whites of the eyes here and all that sort of thing, all that fun stuff. So anyway, just wanted to share that. And actually, while I'm in here doing this little quick update, I wanted to show you the fabric bowls I mentioned earlier. When I was watching the video that I had posted earlier here on YouTube, I realized when I mentioned it that I had not actually posted the post about the fabric bowls on YouTube. I had posted it on my Instagram account. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you will not have seen it. But this is one of them. So again, this is my first time making them. So I literally took fabric scraps and some Elmer's glue. And what I did was I cut a water bottle and wrapped it in saran wrap. And then just started using the glue and adding the fabric scraps. So it's starting to harden and dry up, which is really good. And at some point, I'm going to take this out, the bottle and saran wrap and everything like that. I did do that with the second one I did. And this one is still very much wet. The reason this one is still wet is because I went back and I applied some Mod Podge to it. So I'm not sure about these. Again, I said I would post about whether it was an epic fail or a nice success. I got a little gung-ho when I was removing the inside, the bottle. So I messed up with the fabric that's in here. And these are so delicate right now still. It bends easy, so I'm trying not to apply too much pressure. But I'm going to have to fix that at some point, the loose fabric that you could see in there. So yeah, I'm not sure about whether this was worth it. I like to try new things. I thought they were super cute when I was seeing them by different creators, other artists who were doing these, and I thought, well, I'm going to give that a try because I'm up for giving things a go. But yeah, I don't know. It's very delicate, bendable, obviously. So I'm not sure if I would do this again. I'm also not 100% confident in the idea of using just Elmer's glue as the adhesive to not only keep all the fabrics together, but to keep the shape. So we shall see. Like I said, that's still, I squished up the bottle just to kind of give this still some inner structure, and I've got it hanging upside down on a skewer. But yeah, this one seems to be a little bit more this is another thing. Okay, I'm an impatient person, and when something is too much fuss, I get frustrated with it. So maybe you'll be different if you want to give these a go. While I was getting the other one off of the water bottle, I was thinking to myself, this is such a pain. And I don't think I'll ever make this again. And in fact, actually, not this way anyway. I like the idea of this. I mean, look at it. I think that's so cute. But I just like all this work, and I don't know about you, but fabric is expensive. So it doesn't matter if they're scraps, they're expensive. And if I'm going through the trouble of making something, then I want it to last at least for a while and not be so delicate. I mean, I made this, and the idea to make this was I was going to use it here in my art room, whether it was going to hold paper clips or excess thread, because I save all my threads, but I don't need it when it's so, fragile like this. But I think if I were to do this again, I would get a tin can, from something, out of my recycle bin after it's been cleaned out. And I would just add the fabric to the tin and leave it like that. So I would just cover up the tin can with fabric scraps and yarns and stuff, and there you go. And use like Mod Podge or something as an adhesive and leave it at that. And at least that way I know it's sturdy. So but yeah, at least that's my thinking on it right now. But maybe that other one I showed you, maybe that one is, I'm feeling that way about it just because I took it off too early. I don't know, but like this is such a pain to take off. Like, look at this. So you are like literally watching me do this so you could see how, I mean, I will say though that because this one's a little bit more set, though it's very wet, I can feel it now on the inside. It is coming off a little bit more easier than the other one did. But again, there's that fear of the fabric, because it's got a few layers, the fabric touching the saran is unraveling. This is so, I don't know, maybe I don't know. Just I'm like, maybe someone's got an easier way of doing this. I just went by the instructions I saw from one person. Maybe it could be me just screwing this up. And it also could be just my personality of, when things are too, it has to be worth it, right? When the difficulty level is just, it has to be worth it for me. And if it's too much, then I just think, okay, is this worth it? Would I do this again this way? No, I would not. Because this is not, definitely use something, whatever container you're going to use if you're going to give this a go. Use a container as your base that is flexible, like a water bottle, because it's bendable, so you can really work it away. I don't know how you would make it work if it wasn't bendable. But basically, if you wanted to give this a go, like I said, you could use, like I said, cut up a water bottle, cut it in half, and then get some Elmer's glue. So I just bought the clear stuff. And it doesn't have to be clear. It could be the white, dries clear anyway. But Walmart here, when I went last night, only had the clear stuff. And you just wrap the container, the water bottle or whatever you're using, in saran wrap. Make it nice and snug. Tuck it inside like I had done here. And then start wrapping fabric. Now, the suggestion from the original person, I got it from, I can't remember her name. I just started following her. That's so bad. Was that the first layers of fabric, when you're putting them down, put them face down. So the pattern side goes down. So that way, when this comes out, you're seeing all the nice, pretty patterns from the inside of the bowl. Okay. And then the layers after that, you put it face up. So the pattern side is face up. And then you just go at it. And I was just applying the glue with a brush. And so what happens is you apply glue to obviously the bottom so that you could adhere the fabric scrap to. And then you apply more glue on top of the fabric so that the glue is has two jobs in this case. It has to act as an adhesive, and it also has to act as a layer, giving it a layer of coating. Not a layer of coating. That doesn't make sense, Tina. What are you doing? It acts as a way to stiffen, a fabric stiffener. It stiffens the fabric a bit. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Oh, I got it. Okay, so definitely wait until it's mostly set. It's still very wet on the inside, but at least all the fabric stayed in place. So I don't know if you can see that. So, and the reason I didn't want to wait till it was completely hard, because I worried that I would not be able to get it out. Plus, when I looked up these on Pinterest as well, I saw people had really done some nice little cross stitching and all sorts of neat things and some beadwork. And I thought, well, if this gets too hard, I wasn't sure how hard this was going to get with the Elmer's glue. And I worried that I wouldn't be able to get a needle through. So I wanted this to still be somewhat soft, where I could add some embellishments if I felt so inclined. So, but yeah. Okay, so rule of thumb, number 1, wait until it's more set than what I did. This had only been drying for 2 hours, and that wasn't enough before I pulled it out. And as a result, the one strip of fabric has come loose on the inside. And plus it was 10 times more difficult to release it from the plastic bottle. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, well, I don't think there's a number 2. Yeah, so let it just set. And if you're wanting to add further embellishments, again, because this is my first time and I don't know how hard this will go, you might want to pull it out while it's still somewhat wet and soft so that you can do some stitching and everything on it. But that's just up to you. I did add Mod Podge to this on the outside just because I wanted to give that an extra layer of protection, since I went through the trouble of buying some extra fabric in other colors from what I had at home. And, you know, I wanted to do it. So they're not supposed to be perfect little bowls, but they are kind of cute though, aren't they? I think so. So I don't know, maybe I will make it again. We shall see. But in the meantime, I've got 2, so maybe I don't even need any more than that. But there you go. Well, I'm going to go now, and it's Friday evening here, and I was just, like I said, popping in the studio because I wanted to talk about this. And I thought, since I did not post about it here on YouTube, about the fabric bowls, I would quickly share with you that part as well. But other than that, have a fantastic weekend. Take care.